Lovely. So just take your time to find your way into that comfortable seated position, just gently closing your eyes. And just beginning with a short, guided, seated meditation, which you may find a little easier because early in the morning is always recommended for meditation, mainly because your mind, it hasn't quite gotten to its full speed yet. I mean, that's probably not true for everybody, but that's generally why they say it's good to do early in the morning and then at the end of the day. So to begin with, you're just finding a position where your body can be still. You feel your body, maybe scanning through your body just to notice any parts that may be asking for a little extra attention today. Or maybe just as a way to bring you into your body, you can feel the points where you meet the floor. You can feel your hips on the floor, your feet on the floor. So your body is still. If you really need to move, that's okay, but ideally, you try and remain as still as possible. And then you'll shift your attention to your breath, the natural breath. Just follow the natural breath coming in and going out. No need to change it, simply observing. And the observer, the witness, someone who watches, is a really good state to be in for meditation or yoga. Observing, not necessarily reacting. Observing how it is. And so you've noticed your breath. Maybe you've noticed if it moves more in one side of the nose than the other. Maybe it moves evenly through both nostrils. Now, if one of the nostrils is blocked, then this next breathing exercise, you're going to need to leave the hands on the lap and just use your imagination to breathe in one side and out the other. Otherwise, you're going to feel quite lightheaded. So this is alternate nostril breath. You'll simply bring your right hand up to the nose. Thumb will be for the right side and the ring finger will be for the left. So sitting up nice and tall, head in line on the neck, thumb to the nose, and you inhale left. When you're ready, changing to exhale from the right. Same side, inhale right. And then you'll change to exhale from the left. Breathe in the left. Breathe out the right. And if at any point you feel funny, then simply return to a normal breath. So you're breathing in one side, the breath moves across and out the other. Back in that same side, across and out the other. As you do this, maybe the breath can slow down. So when you next exhale from the left nostril, simply resting that right hand back in the lap, eyes are closed, Take 2 deep breaths whenever you get there. And then taking a moment to notice the natural breath again. How is the natural breath? How does the body feel? These breathing techniques are a really powerful way to change the feeling of your inner world, either stimulate you or with that one calm you down fully. Really good. So you can blink your eyes open and you can change the cross of your leg. We won't be here for much longer. We're going to do a little arm position. So we're going to begin with our eagle arms. So you're going to take one arm under the other. Doesn't matter which one, just see which arm you've got underneath. You might have the elbows up in line with the shoulders. You might be able to pull the hands forwards a little bit from the face, so they're not on the face. We're just going to take about a minute here. That's about 10 breaths. You might be still. You might make little circles with those elbows. 3 one way. Really great to get into the rhomboids, the upper back. And then if you're making the circles, 3 circles the other way. Coming to center, take a nice deep breath. And then releasing those arms, push those arms out to the side, and we'll do the other one. So take your other arm underneath, wrap the arm around. Really good. Maybe lifting the elbows a little, drawing the hands forwards, just giving the shoulders a chance to settle in here. And then if you did it on the other side, probably you'll do it this side too. Circling the elbows, just 3 little circles one way. Remember, it's the morning, you're just warming up, so less is more. Really good. And then finding your way back to neutral, taking a nice deep breath. And you can release the arms, push your arms out to the side. Really good. So from there, come on to all fours. We're going to stay with the back of the shoulder. So the options are, option 1, thread the needle from this all fours position. If you might have a little bit more mobility in the back, feet together, knees go wide, and you take it from this wide leg child's pose position. Okay, so, and it could be halfway. So if you try it here and you just can't get the shoulder down, you might just lift the hips up a little bit, or you might need to come, completely up as if you've been in all fours. So sweep the right arm up and then reach your right arm all the way through, placing that right shoulder down on the floor. And the other arm can go really wherever it's comfortable. You might extend it forwards towards the front of the mat. You might reach it behind you. Wherever you are, the neck and the shoulders should be comfortable. So we've got another 1.5 minutes there. So the breath is natural. You don't need to breathe in any special way, but your attention is on your breath. You're really paying attention to the breath and any sensations you feel in the pose. You're remaining present, which is really important, because then you'll notice if you need to come out a bit. You'll also notice if there's space to go in a little bit more, because people often say, well, can I do it in front of the TV? And I'm like, well, you can do stretches in front of the TV, but they probably aren't quite as effective because you're not really there in the stretch. So you've got a minute there. You might stay just as you are. You might adjust the position of that arm or thread the shoulder through even a tiny bit more if you feel there's space. So drawing your other arm back to support you, pushing into the hand, and you'll unthread. And you might like to round the back, arch the back before coming into the other side. So same options from all fours or from your child's pose, sweeping the left arm through, shoulder, side of the head comes down, hand could be here. You could extend the arm forwards. You could wrap the arm around the other behind you. Really good. So your body settles in. You take a moment to notice. Notice it, how it feels on this left side. Is it different? Feel the same? And so as we hold these poses, as we breathe mindfully in these poses, as we gaze inwardly, observing ourselves in these poses, we're not just getting into the physical body, getting into the emotional and mental bodies as well. There's plenty more than just physical tension held in the tissues of the body, the fascia of the body. Emotions, memories, all can be stored in the tissues of the body. You've got 45 seconds to go, so you might adjust your position as you did on the other side. You might be happy as you are. I think that's the hardest part about yoga, especially in yoga, when to go forwards in a pose, when to hold back. When are we feeling enough? When are we feeling too much? A good gauge is how you feel afterwards. How does your body feel afterwards? A little bit of an ache is okay. So just as we did on the other side, you're going to draw the hand back, push into the hand, you're going to round your back, maybe arch the back, and we're going to lie down for a chest opener. So you can lie down on your front and your right arm, so you're laying on the right side of your head, your right arm is like this, it's bent. You might have the elbow back a little bit, but probably it's forwards. And then using your left hand, you just begin to roll over towards that right arm. So you might, if you get more over, lift the leg, place the foot down behind you. You might not. So see, you want to feel this through chest, pectoral area, inner upper arm, through here. And if you're really comfortable, the other arm can reach up and behind you, up and over behind your body as well. Really good. So we'll take 2 minutes, as we did on the other side. You've had 30 seconds already. The important thing in these upper body openers is we don't get pins and needles. Doesn't matter so much if you're in pigeon pose and you've got pins and needles in the legs. There's more tissue there, but when we're working with the shoulders, pins and needles is a sign we're touching a nerve. So you would come out and adjust the angle of your arm in the shoulder joint. Really good. You've got 1 more minute there. The breath is relaxed. Your mind is focused. Hopefully focusing on what's going on in the chest, in the upper body. So to come out, slowly bring the leg back, roll onto your front, just taking a pause. You can rest the head on the hands. Any neutral position that feels good. You might move the arm back alongside you if you need to move it completely. And so then when you're ready, left side of the head comes onto the floor, left arm is bent out to the side, and you slowly push yourself over towards that left side. And that might be enough. I didn't say actually you could put a cushion under your head if it feels better to keep the neck in line. You might take that foot all the way behind you, even that arm all the way around behind you. So settling in on this other side, maybe adjusting the position to find that just right position. Finding our way into the channels and the tissue of the upper body. You have 1 more minute there. So at any point in any of these poses, you might be moving more in, might be rolling more and more over to deepen the stretch, or you might be slowly moving back towards the floor, getting too intense if you don't feel the body opening, if you only feel resistance. Really good. So when you're ready, bringing the arm, the leg back, rolling, so you're resting the head on the hands, and then with your knees together, moving back to a child's pose with your knees together, arms back alongside the body ideally, unless it's really uncomfortable. So pausing here, this is a lovely flexion for the spine. And we're going to come into rabbit pose, actually not for very long, but coming back to the upper back. And so you'll hold on to your heels. If you're not sure, have a look. I bring my nose in really close to the knees, and then I lift my hips up. And so it's here. So I've rolled onto the top of my head. If you can't reach the heels, you can hold the ankles. Really good. And just taking a few breaths there. We'll take another 5 breaths. Hips reaching high, breath moving into the upper back, into the shoulder blades. Really good. And so then when you're ready, just releasing the hips down and actually coming back down onto the belly. So we're going to come into a back bend, into Sphinx. If you have a very tight lower back, you might begin here just for a minute, head on the hands. And I would say if you're hypermobile in your back or you have a sensitive back, you're going to be squeezing the glutes throughout. And elbows come underneath the shoulders. So you could be here. Really good. Pulling on the hands to draw the chest through. Breathing down into the belly, really nice, especially if you've done a lot of core work, to stretch out through the abdomen. So you might just stay here, elbows underneath the shoulders for the whole of the time. We're going to spend about 2 minutes here. You might slowly turn your head to one side. And bring it back to the center, slowly turning the head to the other side. Really good. You can do it again. You're moving slowly. Really good. So from here, stay here, or if you want it a little bit more intense, turn the hands out and straighten the arms, seal pose. So really pushing the floor away. You might bring the hands in a little bit if you need to, if it feels better for support, or if it doesn't feel good, you can place those elbows back down on the floor. So the top of the feet are down on the floor, the hips are pushing down into the floor, and the chest is open. Really good. Breathe into the front of the body. Lovely deep breaths into the front of the body, maybe the belly, maybe the chest. Really good. You might begin to feel it in the arms. That's okay. You don't want any discomfort or pain in the upper back. Really nice. You've got another 5 breaths wherever you are. Really good. So then slowly, elbows are coming down if they're not already, and the head's coming down onto the hands. Really gently rocking the hips side to side. Give the spine a chance to settle. Then very gently, again, returning to child's pose, knees together, rounding the back over the knees, feeling the forehead on the floor, really feeling that connection, head and earth. So our next pose is for the hamstrings. It's a little bit of a counter pose. Now, depending on your hamstrings, you don't necessarily need a band or a belt. If you have a band or a belt or even a towel to put over the foot, let me just adjust this so you can see the foot. So you could have this left knee bent and you could be holding the right thigh. But if you find it difficult to hold the thigh, and with holding it you need to bend the knee, then it might be helpful to put something over the foot just so the leg can move away and the leg can actually be straight. Because when the leg's straight, we're getting into the flesh of the muscle. We're not going to get into the attachments of the muscle, okay? So left knee is bent to begin with. Right leg is hugging in towards you. And we're going to be here for a while, as with all the poses. So just feel it a little bit. Feel something in the back of your leg rather than feeling like, oh, 2 minutes, how will I stay here? Really good, because you're in control of the pose. Lovely. So we can think about the alignment a little bit in this pose. We can think about rolling that right thigh out, externally rotating the thigh, or just turning your toes away from the midline of your body, and you'll feel the thigh move out in the hip. Really good. Now, if it feels really easy where you are, you can extend the left leg as well. Left leg out straight, that will just make it a little bit more intense for the legs. Really good. And then you're pausing there. And if hamstrings an area of the body you want to get into, I'd say this is one of the safest stretches for hamstrings. So when the hamstrings are tight, if you regularly do a seated forward bend, it can often put quite a lot of pressure on your lower back. And this is a really easy one. You can do this in bed. Really good. Breathing in, breathing out, just that gentle pressure, drawing that leg in towards you as all the tissue begins to soften, slowly begins to open. Really good. You've got just under a minute to go. Is your right hip down on the floor? Are you drawing your right hip down into the floor? Really good, because the body will do anything to get out of a stretch. I love it. One of my favorite yoga teachers in London, Nathalie Mukshiva, she's like, your body just wants to be on the couch watching TV. Rather not get into all these tight bits. It likes them, it knows them. Now, staying with that right leg, so you have your right leg extended up. We're going to take it out to the right side. So if you do have a strap over the foot, take it in that right hand. If not, you're just holding the leg with your hand. You can even rest it on your arms. You take that right leg out to the side. It's important when you come out to the side that it doesn't come all the way away from you. You want to keep it at your end range as you take it out to the side. And you're feeling it obviously in the inner thigh. It can be quite intense. Now let's have a look. So actually keep that left hip on the floor. So I think of you might have tipped over a little bit, so you might bring the right leg back up and really root that left thigh, that left hip down into the floor. I should have said it before we started taking the leg over. Really good. Yes, lovely. Breathing into the inner thigh. Breathing deeply as the body slowly opens. Really nice. You've got just a few more breaths here. And then in your own time, coming up to the center and changing legs. So if the foot is in a belt, you can put the other foot up into the belt. Extend the left leg. Maybe the right knee stays bent. Maybe you extend it away from you. And as we begin the pose, really finding that just right position. So turning the toes away from you and feel it as you move those toes out to the left side. You're going to feel that thigh move. Really good. And the leg is straight and you're just breathing into the back of that leg. So you're at about 50%, not too intense, just enough to feel something. Using the breath to soften the body, using the breath to focus your mind. Really good. So staying with this leg, you've got another minute on the hamstring, the calf muscle. And so you know how it feels. You might be pulling it more in towards you, or you might just be holding the very same position that you started with, but you're always noticing. Notice the moments where the body releases. Notice the moments when you can move into that space that you've created. So then taking the belt in your left hand and taking that left leg out to the side. Right thighs rooted onto the floor. Really good. Left heels reaching up and out. 10 breaths. Stay with your breath. Feel that right side of your body rooting you down, and breathe. Breathe into the inner thighs. Really good. So bringing that leg up to the center, release the belt, just take a little pause, letting the legs settle. And when you feel ready, you'll roll over to the side. We're going to come to kind of kneeling. We're going to come to an inner thigh stretch. I'm going to suggest we do frog. If frog doesn't work for you, then you can do butterfly instead. But I'm going to show you frog. You will want cushions under the knees, I would think, unless you've got a really soft floor and a soft mat on top of it. So you're taking the knees wide apart, okay? And with my legs, let's see where's the best angle for the legs. My feet are in line with the knees, personally. Some people's feet go out to the side, some people's feet are more in, and some people's hips are a little back or a little forwards, okay? So you're taking your knees as wide apart as they'll go as you come down onto the floor or towards the floor. And have some props. You can put props under your body to take the pressure off the inner thighs. You can put props under your head or just rest your head in the hands. It's really effective on getting into the inner thighs. You can also do slightly less intense butterfly pose, like this. Okay. But you know, with frog pose, because you have the weight of your hips going down, it's just like, it would be like if I was sort of gently pushing you in butterfly pose, adjusting you. Really good. So we're going to take 4 minutes. So it's intense probably however you go into it, but just with 4 minutes in mind, maybe bring the knees a little closer together, maybe not going down so far. If you're not sure, if you think, oh, I'm not sure if this is right for my knees or whatever, then just come out and give me a wave. So the target area, the inner thighs, which may seem like an obvious thing to say, but you don't want to feel pinching in the back of your hips, because pinching in the back of the hips is compression, and that's something we'd want to move around. So by adjusting the angle of your hips and moving them forwards or back, or moving the legs. Really good. You've had a minute already. So as you settle into the pose, can you really relax into the pose? Can you relax the body, especially the face? And can you soften the breath? If it helps in the more challenging poses, you might really focus on taking slow breaths. So breathing in for a count of 5 or 6 and breathing out for that same count of 5 or 6. Focusing your mind maybe elsewhere than just on the pose, counting the seconds down. So you're over halfway through. And it may be that the body is opening and you feel like space is coming, and at any point now you could take the knees wider apart. I've said it before in other weeks, if you ever find a pose that we do useful, it's great to do a full hour, 2 hours of yoga, but in reality, little and often is the best way. And so then repeating that pose, that's the great thing about yin yoga, is because we go in very slowly in all the poses, you don't need to be warm, you don't need to be a warm-up to do a warm-up to get into any of the postures. You can do them any of these on their own. If you don't remember what it was, you can always send me a message and ask. So you've got less than a minute to go. And you're going to count 5 breaths. These are your last 5 breaths here. And whenever you finish, you're going to very slowly help yourself out of this pose, and just to any position, any other position, maybe just lying on your front, any neutral position. We'll take a good pause after this one. Really good. So as you come out, as you come into a neutral position where you can be still, keeping your attention on the target area, the inner thighs, noticing how it feels to release the pose. These little pauses are known as rebounds. Lovely. So when you're ready, coming up, and we're going to get into the glutes, I'm going to give you lots of options because I think all of your hips are quite different, and some of you probably have quite natural external rotation, so you might want to take more intense. Maybe you've got sensitive knees, you might want to take against the wall. So I'm going to show you the first one, against the wall. It's not necessarily the easiest one, but it's really good if you have an injury to a knee or a sensitive knee. So imagining my foot is on the wall and the other one ankle is on the foot. So you might have an angle like this, or the wall might be closer to you, okay, and it might look like this, but this leg, the foot's on the wall. Okay, so that's one option. Otherwise, we can take our deer pose. So the left leg is at a right angle. If you're leaning, put a cushion under, okay. Or again, if you like, you can do, if deer pose is like really quite easy, double deer, via log pose. So I've got my ankle around the crease of my knee. Some people will get the ankle onto the knee. Okay, and then again, it's ankle towards the knee crease, so they're parallel on top of each other. So you want to feel it in the glute IT band area. That's the target area. Great. And then if you're in double deer, you can maybe fold forwards over the legs. No discomfort in the knee. So important, not only in this pose, but yeah, anything you're doing. Be kind to your knees. You only have two. Oh, now, yeah. Is that okay, Emma? Oh, you feel it in there. That's not ideal. I would do deer pose instead. So I would do one side. So you can do one leg like this and just move the other leg further behind. So my back leg is straight, yeah. And then come forwards. Does that feel better on the knees? No. Oh, you still feel it there. Ah, okay. So then I would probably go here, and if you still, is that better, or do you still feel it? Really good. So you're halfway through. You've got a minute and a half to go. If you are against the wall and you feel the sensations released, you can always move closer to the wall. When you're ready, just really slowly releasing the legs. You might let the knees rock side to side. Wherever you are, seated or lying down, just letting the hips settle a little bit. And when you feel ready, slowly moving into the other side. Feel your way into the other side. Adjust the pose as you need to, so that then the body can be fairly still without the need to adjust, at least for a minute. body is still, noticing where your attention is, where the awareness is in these poses. Continuing to notice your breath, knowing that you can use the breath as a tool, or you can simply observe your natural breath. You have 1 more minute there. So nice and slowly coming out of the pose and ending up, if you're not already lying on your back, you can take a few rounds of windscreen wipers pose. So your feet wide, knees rocking gently side to side. Our final pose is a twist, and it may be that you decide to just hold this windscreen wiper twist over to one side. That's really good to get into the side of the hips, lower back. If you want to take it up a little bit, then it's a double leg twist. Both knees come up towards you and then over to the side. Remember, you can prop cushions and things under the knees to make it less intense. If you have another twist that you love doing, then go ahead and take that one. It's just finishing with a twist. Twists are so great for the spine, really for the whole of the body, the digestive system, the breath. And I'm sure you all know the benefits of moving your body and breathing well on your immune system, on your whole well-being, really, not just the physical side of it. And so as you find your way into the twist, maybe closing your eyes to remove any visual distractions. Making sure that the shoulder blades are being allowed to release down into the floor. Really soft shoulders. Knowing that when those shoulders are down on the floor, you can always change the arm position. So maybe having the elbows bent, hands on the floor, or even reaching your arm all the way up over the head, so straight up over the head. But when you make that change, it wants to enhance the pose. You want to think, that feels really good. It really gets a little bit more deeply into that side of the body, the chest that I'm opening, rather than, that's making like a pinching sensation or just bringing complete discomfort. So I do joke about being comfortably uncomfortable, but at the beginning, there should always be some level of comfort. It should feel fairly good to start with. Really nice. You've got just over 30 seconds there, not so long. So slowly finding your way out of that twist into a nice neutral position, pausing. When the back feels ready, bringing those knees back up into the chest and taking them over to the other side. Slowly taking them across the body. Maybe propping things under the knees if you need to. It's 3 minutes, so it's a fairly long time to be in a twist. And then once your body is still, simply observing your natural breath again. Observe as the natural breath moves in, out of the nose. Maybe even becoming aware of the temperature of the breath, that lovely cool air as it comes in, warmer air that's coming out. Just really noticing that, noticing the different parts of your breath. Have a minute there, maybe adjusting position of your arms if you haven't already. Very gently, and maybe using the hand to help push those legs up to center, coming out of the twist and into your final resting pose. However is most comfortable, maybe lying on your back, legs straight, lying on your back with the knees bent, resting on each other, or even the soles of the feet together and the knees resting out to the side. Be comfortable. And this final pose, and it is a pose. This final pose, even though there's no effort, maybe not even very much sensation, as you lie on the floor, your spine is just gently finding its way into alignment. And your whole inner space can begin to put to memory the practice. Absorb the practice into the cells and allow you this short time to pause. Pause before you need to come off the mat, back out into the world. Begin to deepen your breath. Begin to deepen your breath and just slowly bring a little bit of movement back into your hands and your feet. Bending the knees, maybe giving the knees a hug. And just taking your time, really slowly finding your way from this lying down position over to one side, keeping the eyes closed. And then finally up to seated. Sitting up tall, feeling that length in the spine, that space you've created for your breath. And as you inhale, sweep your arms up over the head, palms touch. Exhaling, thumbs touch crown and forehead and all the way down to the earth. And you can open your eyes. And thank you all for joining me early. Let me just stop the recording.